Look at all that stuff. Paul Uhl with Chase Bliss Audio. So you just got your DMC-4 Gen 2 and you want to use it with your Chase Bliss pedals. But you see this super long list of parameters and you're probably a little overwhelmed. Well, there's a lot on here that you can actually ignore. I'm going to break it all down for you and let you know exactly what you need to know to configure this to work with those. Let's have a look. Okay, this is the Disaster Area DMC-4 Gen 2, and let's talk about how to access the configuration and set up the parameters for use with your Chase Bliss devices. So as you're putting in the power cable, you want to press down. I'm going to try to keep my hands so you can see the display. You'll see it say Disaster Area at boot up, and then it'll say Setup. At that point, you can release. Okay, the first thing we need to focus on is you don't press these top two buttons during any of this. You just focus on the bottom two. The bottom left, as you press it, it takes you through these bold letter choices here. And let's just go right through those. You'll see this E change to L, P, as you go down the list. And then back up here. Now this right switch cycles through the stuff that is to the right side of the bold letter. So as I press the right switch, it's going to stay in the E, and it's going to cycle through all these options to the right of E. Right back up to expression. Alright, so let's look at what these options are for Chase Bliss pedals. So one we want to make a note of is this E. We want to have our expression roller send MIDI CC to all connected pedals. And that's why I have it set to expression. As we move on, you'll see that the next option is a looper configuration. That's for use with like Strymon Timeline. We don't want to mess with that. We can just turn it to off. Next is preset mode configuration. I have mine currently set to off, but when you enable presets on this device, you have the option to decide how many presets are in your cycling loop of presets. 12 up to 48, and then it just goes back to off. I'm just going to leave mine set to off. Scrolling mode configuration. So this is where you decide how many pedals you are scrolling through and in what order. So if you had 3 Chase Bliss pedals and you wanted to scroll through all 3 Chase Bliss pedals, you would have it set up the way that I have it set up, which is A, B, C. Let's say you had all 3 pedals set up and you only wanted to scroll between A and C. You can press this button until you see that B is bypassed. Right there. The bypass pedal shows up as a 0. So if I had a pedal on A, B, and C, and I was scrolling through in the scrolling mode, it would only go from A to C and back to A again. It would never go to B. It's handy if you want that sort of thing. I have mine set up to A, B, C because I'm doing all 3. Let's talk about the next option, which is device configuration for the A, B, and C devices. This is actually very important. So for each pedal or device, you have a list of different pedal makers and their pedals off to the side here. CB would be Chase Bliss. You can toggle through several different pedal makers and their products. But for this application, we want Chase Bliss. Then as you scroll through, now you have the option to do your B device, and I have mine set up to Chase Bliss, and your C device, which I have set up to Chase Bliss. Okay, so the next option is button 4 configuration. That's button 4. and you can configure it to do a list of things. I have mine set to tap, so when I press on that, it acts as a tap tempo. That's actually kind of handy. Another useful option is to save it as the favorite. If anybody has any Strymon pedals, you know what that's all about. You can save a favorite preset of yours and access it anytime throughout your performance by pressing button 4. Moving down the list, L is looper stop and play behavior. We don't have to worry about that. Okay, so similar to above where it said scrolling mode configuration, this is kind of expression configuration, and you can configure it to control any devices, or as you cycle through, this would be B only, for example. This would be A and B. That would be C only. That would be A and C only. B and C only. I have it set up to just control all three. Okay, moving on down the list, we can turn the expression looper display on or off. And what this does is as you roll the expression roller, it takes over the display and shows you what the CC value is. It's pretty handy. I like to have it on. You can toggle it off or on. Okay, lastly is display brightness. You can go from a value of 10 to 100. To me, a lot of the Disaster Area stuff, the LEDs were cool, but they were just way too bright when I was trying to look straight down. So this is a great feature that Matthew's put on here. I have mine currently set to 30, so you can tell I like kind of a dim LED. But that would be full blast. If I turn my lights completely off, we can see this better. And you see this LED over here blinking? It doesn't actually blink in real life. It just blinks that way through the camera. It has to do with the frame rate. So don't be confused by that. Anyway, my preference is 30. You'll find what yours is. Okay, so now your Disaster Area DMC-4 Gen 2 is completely configured and ready to go with Chase Bliss pedals. To save and exit the setup menu, all we have to do is press and hold that upper right button again, and you see save blink, and you're ready to go. Okay, we're all done here, but I just wanted to show you a couple of things that would show up in our configuration. As we scroll through the devices, you'll see we go A, B, and C. There they are. You'll see that this is working as a tap tempo. You see the light blinking up there. And as I roll the expression wheel, you will see that it shows the CC messages in the window there. And that's 0 through 127.